刘培元的英文教室正确发音篇从经典演说当中练习正确的发音这些经典演说都是选的非常英文写作水平非常高。我们来念一下，练习正确的发音，美式发音也不错。那这边练习的是海伦凯勒非常有名的伟大的女性又聋又哑但是学问好的不得了。她老师当然很伟大消弭战争因为比较长，我们分上下两集我们光是念重点是发音。如果你觉得需要知道它的意思，你就看相关的各集欢迎小额赞助请分别订阅我的15个 YouTube 频道它的标题是 Strike Against War Delivered before the Women's Peace Party in New York 1916年非常早了。我们念一下一个句子黑字，一个句子红字，比较清楚绿色的字是动词所以我们英文要发音发音不是只有发音我们就说整个讲得好，一个就是单字的发音尽量准确但是呢第二个呢还有就是它的断句断句哪里该停一下不是一个句子很长从头念到尾，不是这个意思也不一定要念得快就是该断的时候停一下该停一下。然后再来一个就是起承转合抑扬顿挫。To begin with, I have a word to say to my good friends, the editors and others who have moved to pity me. Some people grieved because they imagine I'm in the hands of unscrupulous persons who lead me astray and persuade me to espouse unpopular causes and make me the mouthpiece of their propaganda. Now, let it be understood once and for all that I do not want their pity. I would not change places with one of them. I know what I'm talking about. My sources of information are as good and reliable as anybody else's. I have papers and magazines from England, France, Germany, and Austria that I can read myself. None of the editors I've met can do that. Quite a number of them have to take their French and German second-hand. No, I would not disparage the editors. They are an overworked, misunderstood class. Let them remember, though, that if I cannot see the fire at the end of their cigarettes, neither can they thread a needle in the dark. All I ask, gentlemen, is a fair field and no favor. I have entered the fight against preparedness and against the economic system under which we live. It is to be a fight to the finish, and I ask no quarter. The future of the world rests in the hands of America. The future of America rests on the back of 80 million working men and women and their children. We are facing a great crisis in our national life. The few who profit from the labor of the masses want to organize the workers into an army which will protect the interests of the capitalists. You are urged to add to the heavy burdens you already bear the burden of a large army and many additional warships. It is in your power to refuse to carry the artillery and the dreadnoughts and to shake off some of the burdens, such as limousines, steam yards, and country estates. You do not need to make a great noise about it. With the silence and the dignity of your creators, you can end wars in the system of selfishness and the exploitation that causes war. All you need to do to bring about this stupendous revolution is to strengthen up and fold your arms. We are not preparing to defend our country, even if we were as helpless as Congressman Gardner says we are. We have no enemies foolhardy enough to attempt to invade the United States. The talk about attack from Germany and Japan is absurd. Germany has its hands full and will be busy with its own affairs for some generations after the European war is over.
With full control of the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, the Allies failed to land enough men to feed the Turks at Gallipoli, and then they failed again to land an army at Salonika in time to check the Bulgarian invasion of Serbia. The conquest of America by water is a nightmare confined exclusively to ignored persons and members of Navy League. Yet, everywhere we hear the field advance as argument for armament. It reminds me of a fable I read. A certain man found a horseshoe. His neighbor began to weep and wail because, as he justly pointed out, the man who found a horseshoe might someday find a horse. Having found a shoe, it might shoot him. The neighbor's child might someday go so near the horse's ears as to be kicked and die. Undoubtedly, the two families would quarrel and fight, and several valuable lives would be lost through the finding of the horseshoe. You know, the last word we had, we quite accidentally picked some islands of the Pacific Ocean, which may someday be the cause of quarrel between ourselves and Japan. I'd rather drop those islands right now and forget about them than go to war to keep them, wouldn't you? Congress is not preparing to defend the people of the United States. It is planning to protect the capital of American speculators, investors in Mexico, South America, China, and the Philippine Islands. Incidentally, the preparation would benefit the manufacturers of munitions and war machines. Until recently, they were used in the United States for the money taken from the workers. But the American labor is exploited almost to the limit now, and all national resources have all been appropriated. Still, the profits keep piling up new capital. Our flourishing industry in implements of mother is filling the vaults of New Yorkers' banks with gold. And the dollar that is not being used to make a slave of some human being is not fulfilling its purpose in the capitalistic scheme. The dollar must be invested in South America, Mexico, China, or the Philippines. It was no accident that Navy League came into prominence at the same time the National City Bank of New York established a branch of Buenos Aires. It is not a mere coincidence that 6 business associates of J.P. Morgan are officials of defense leagues. And Chan did not indicate that Mayor Mitchell should appoint to his committee of safety 1,000 men that represent a fifth of the wealth of the United States. This may want their foreign investments protected. Every modern world has had its root in exploitation. The Civil War was fought to decide whether the slaveholders of the South or the capitalists of the North should exploit the West. The Spanish-American War decided that the United States should exploit Cuba and the Philippines. The South American War decided that British should exploit the diamond mines. The Russo-Japanese War decided that Japan should exploit Korea. The Persian War is to decide who shall exploit the Balkans, Turkey, Persia, Egypt, India, China, Africa. And we are whetting our sword to scare the victors into sharing the spoils with us. Now the workers are not interested in the spoils. They will not get any of them anyway. The preparedness propagandas have still another object, and a very important one. They want to give the people something to think about besides their own unhappy condition. They know the cost of living is high, wages are low, employment is uncertain, and will be much more so when the European call for munitions stops. The men are hard and incessantly the people work. They often cannot afford the comforts of life. Many cannot obtain the necessities. Every few days we are given a new world scare to lend realism to their propaganda. They have had us on the verge word of the Louisiana, the Gulf Flight, the Ancona, and now they want the working man to become excited over the sinking of the Persia. The working man has no interest in any of their ships. The Germans might sink every vessel in the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea and kill the Americans with everyone. The American working man would still have no reason to go to war. All the machinery of the system has been set in motion. About the complaint and then at the protest from the worker is heard the voice of authority.
好，它比较长哈，我们就分上下。那上集就先念到这边啊，这一集念到这里。